So welcome to our thought for today. My name is Debbie and I'm a trainee vicar at the Church of Epiphany in Gipton and Oakwood Church in Roundhay. So a few years ago, I had a week off work, so I decided to sail my canal boat up to York for a few days. All was going really well until about halfway there, my boat ran aground smack bang in the middle of the Piggin River. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Seriously? God, I could go off you. Now, clearly it wasn't God's fault, not even remotely, but it's how I felt at the time. But it did mean that I was in a bit of trouble because I had no signal on my phone, and as it was just me and the dog, I didn't have anyone who could offer assistance either. And so there I was, well and truly stuck in the mud and going nowhere fast. So I decided to adopt a sensible approach to my dilemma. So I went and painted my bathroom. Now, who would have thought that when we all set sail at the start of 2020, that we would be facing a worldwide pandemic that has wreaked havoc in just about every corner of the globe, and millions of people have run aground in the midst of their own lives. But when I've been thinking about all this, I found a really puzzling story in the Bible actually really helpful. And that's the story where Jesus heals a man born blind by spitting in some mud, which he then rubs into the man's eyes. Now, I know it sounds really dodgy, and why would you do that? Lots of questions. But for the purposes of today, I just wanted to offer a couple of thoughts that's been rattling around my tin head. The first is this. The fact that Jesus used mud as a channel for healing is a cause, I believe, for real hope, because it shows that we can encounter God in the most basic and mundane things in life. But it also shows how God steps into all the muddy and naff places of our life, the places where we find ourselves stuck, or perhaps we got lost, the places where we're struggling to see a way ahead, or that hope seems to be teetering on the very edge. But let me take you back to my boat, because I'm still stuck in the mud. And by now, I've finished painting my bathroom, and I just, have now moved on to washing and trying to dye my hair. But then my rescuer arrived in the form of another boater. Hurrah! And this man, he tied his boat to mine, and after several attempts, he finally manages to drag me out of the mud and into deeper water. Now, the persistence of this boater reminded me of Jesus' response to the man who was born blind. At first, the man was unable to see clearly. So with a bit more spit and mud, Jesus kept going until the man was able to see clearly. Now, I don't know about you, but trusting in the slow work of God isn't always easy. And in fact, if you're anything like me, it can feel at times like a right pain in the backside. But then isn't that what faith is all about? Trusting in the one to guide us through all the many stages and the twists and turns of life. So I never actually got to York, but actually that really was okay, because whilst I'd been stuck in the mud, I discovered new things about myself and took unexpected opportunities to be creative with my time. And also I returned with a different hairstyle and colour. But I wonder whether some of this has parallels for us as we begin the slow process of coming out of lockdown. I mean, let's face it, we've all been stuck for quite some time on a metaphorical mud bank. But now the world around us feels like it's beginning to slowly move. But if things still feel a bit blurry, and the path ahead is not clear, then my encouragement for us all today is simply this. Take heart. God is not finished with us yet.